Now, if you were listening yesterday, you might have heard about a new police computer system called Athena that, according to some officers, is so unfit for purpose, criminals are escaping justice. It promised to speed up the detection of crime, but we've learnt it regularly crashes, causing cases to be dropped, and has led to some staff being signed off with stress. Actors are voicing their words because they're risking their careers by speaking out.
It slows the whole criminal justice system down. We're at breaking point already. This has probably tipped some officers over the edge, I would say.
Now, I clock on duty and wait for Athena to load. It's unusual if it allows me in it first time. Even for a simple shoplift, I probably have to press about 50 buttons, with a 30-second minimum loading time between each task.
The system was brought in after the murders of the schoolgirls Holly Wells and Jessica Chapman in 2002. The resulting inquiry found intelligence about the killer Ian Huntley was missed because data held by different forces wasn't put together. Athena does two main things: shares intelligence, which most officers have welcomed and say works. It also builds cases from the point of arrest to sending a file to the Crown Prosecution Service. But some officers say it's taking them off the streets and gluing them to their desks, and in some cases letting criminals roam free. 9 police forces use it, including our own West Mercia force, which has invested millions of pounds into it. Well, the man who was brought in to implement the system at West Mercia was a retired Superintendent, Andy Parks, who is with us now. Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, Ryan.
So what did Athena promise?
Ryan, I was actually brought in to look at the training of the frontline staff to ensure they're ready and equipped to go live with the new system. The first month or so, we actually looked and used it ourselves to see whether or not it was fit for purpose and whether the training was suitable. Sadly, very quickly, it was identified that there were a number of flaws in the system. One of the main issues for me being the fact there were no business processes behind the training programme. So you could train somebody what the system did, but they couldn't see how that fitted into their day-to-day business work.
So essentially you were training them in theory?
Training them in theory, training them in a programme, not in the way that they would do business on a day-to-day system.
Is that not the case when many new computer systems are brought in?
What happens with lots of computer systems, they actually get designed around the user need. What you have to remember is that Athena, which is actually no longer available on the Northgate website, it's now called Connect, which is modular. It's been brought in where people have actually created it for the purpose. This is something that we had to create business processes to fit into, and it didn't work or join up with the current systems that our force, being West Mercia at the time, and the other forces had already got in place.
So was there any consultation while it was being designed and developed?
From the knowledge I had and from speaking to the people from Northgate, there was very little consultation. It was believed to be a state-of-the-art, and it was presented to chief officers and to strategic direction groups saying this was the answer to everything.
So what was it actually like using Athena?
We found that on a training programme of, say, a 7-hour day, we would be without the system for around about 4 hours. The training system would fail. We would be constantly contacting Northgate, constantly requesting that they make amendments and explain that our system just was not able to generate any reports. You would press a key, and as I heard the lady say on one of your clips, you would wait. We were waiting 5, 10, 15 minutes for one screen to reload. The comment made, and I'm being very honest with it, the comment made was, don't worry, it will be okay on the live system.
And so you were brought in to install the system and make sure that everyone was ready for it. How did you feel when you were told things like that?
I think it's well known within West Mercia and Warwickshire that very quickly I became frustrated and I raised my concerns. I raised them verbally. I requested meetings with the senior team, and I submitted documentation to show that we needed to deal with the business process, we needed to challenge the manufacturers, and we needed to ensure that it was fit for purpose and didn't make the public be in a very difficult position where we weren't able to respond, capture, record and deal with the issues that we have every day.
I mentioned that it was supposed to be used for intelligence sharing and building cases. Did either of those functions work well?
No, they didn't. You would find, let me give you a quick example, Ryan. When you want to get insurance online, You can go online, you can put your name, you can put your address, and it'll automatically populate your address. You can put the registration of your vehicle, and lo and behold, it'll tell you which vehicle it is. On Athena, it does none of that whatsoever. You have to put the address in manually. You've got a quality issue when you do that, because it has to be put in each time. You have to put in the registration of the vehicle, then you have to manually put what sort of vehicle it was, what model it was, what colour it was. Well, often you don't have all that. So we're not linked into any of the national systems, and you talked about the Holly and Jessica case and the Bishard report that reported and said we must have a fully integrated UK-wide intelligence sharing process, not just for the police but with agencies. Just remember, Athena doesn't share with any other agency. So there's no agency with social care, education, local authorities. They would have to pay to enter that system and create their own gateway.
So do you think it could be developed? Do you think that the system could improve in time?
Absolutely honestly, from my side, the answer is no. It is an old structure, it's old architecture, it is unfit for today's world, it is not web compliant, and as a police officer with a lot of experience in case building, in the dealing with people on the street, through to the IT side, the IT infrastructures are not there to cater for this type of, it's a monster. As simple as that.
Just last year, West Mercia's Police and Crime Commissioner John Campion described the switch to Athena as probably the biggest IT change in a generation and insisted the difficulties weren't grounds for abandoning it. He said there were some teething problems in the system, but it's not going anywhere. I mean, you're hinting that you definitely don't agree with that. Is
I
that
absolutely
okay?
don't agree with the Police Crime Commissioner. I made the Police Crime Commissioner aware within 2 weeks of him taking office in 2015 that this was one of the priorities that he ought to look at. He needed to look at the business case, look at the cost, look at the number of staff that were employed to train it from agencies, and to look at the amount of officers taken from frontline to develop business processes, and to determine whether it was better to have Athena or whether we put money into developing the current systems. And I know that people will hear me say that and say, oh, but they weren't able to be developed. Yes, they were. More money put into that would have worked better.
And so what do you think will happen now?
I am genuinely concerned, Ryan, that introducing this system will allow offenders to avoid prosecution, will allow information to fail to become intelligence because it's not joined up, and will cause an absolute nightmare for police officers and frontline staff who have to go out to see the public, record crimes, record incidents, and build files where they're not IT people. They join the job to be a public servant. They don't join to sit behind a computer. We said on day one, they will stay behind a computer all day and rarely get the opportunity to go out.
But when a lot of money has been invested in this system, do you not think that it deserves to be given a chance? Do you not think that you know, the flaws that are there could be ironed out?
I don't. Sometimes in business, and having left the force, I now do business consultancy with companies. You have to sometimes bite the bullet and say, actually, this is not working, and develop a way of creating what can work in another way. And in sort of linking that together, 9 forces have taken it, only 5 have any interaction with it. West Mercia, nearest force who have it live is Essex. We don't share any borders with any of the forces that currently have Athena in any way. You have other forces that use niche, the Welsh forces do. You have West Midlands looking at Connect, which is a modular-based process of Athena, but will not talk to it. So you have a UK-wide set of police services developing their own systems that do not share intelligence, do not share with other agencies, and will create a very similar situation to that of Ian Huntley. And because I remember Holly and Jessica well, that was my purpose for going to train. My purpose was to try and help prevent another instance. This is not the programme that will do that.
Okay, Andy, thank you for your time this afternoon. Thank you for coming in. That's retired Superintendent Andy Parks, who was brought in to implement the Athena system at West Mercia. Northgate Public Services, which developed Athena, sent us this statement.
As with any major IT undertaking of this kind, some challenges have been encountered. Athena connects to and relies on many components of IT, which makes it a complex solution. We recognise there are a small number of areas of the solution where improvements can be made, and we apologise for any difficulties this has caused.
And West Mercia's Police and Crime Commissioner sent us this.
We're stronger being able to share information in a much easier way than ever before, and this is how the public would want police to use IT systems to help keep them safe. We're looking to Athena to work with our IT departments to resolve all the issues. We need a consistently stable and reliable system which delivers all the benefits which motivated the force to sign up to the system in the first place. We have a professional and award-winning team overseeing the commercial and contractual issues. These negotiations are conducted in confidence, and although it may not be seen by officers, they are robust and challenging.
It's a statement from West Mercia's Police and Crime Commissioner about the Athena computer system.
Introducing